know when you're perfect. All right. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. This is a happy hour dedicated to ASTI. It's ASTI 101. Normally we do this class in person at the event, but we had a lot to discuss this time, so we wanted to go ahead and get that out early. So for newcomers joining us, we're going to go over a variety of things, and I believe you can post a question if you'd like, and we'll try to get those as we go. If we don't answer something, then please let us know. So we'll try to get to everything in time. So I want to introduce everybody tonight or this afternoon, wherever you may be. I have Doug Shear, who is a board member. Everyone on the call tonight is a board member, and Sarah is our admin. So we want to let you know Doug Shear, Fred Holbrook, and David Costanza. And thank you everybody for being here and being able to discuss some of the stuff that you guys have handled personally for this year's ASTI. Not only this year, but in the past as well. And so our board members step up every year. This is a year-long process, sometimes a little bit more than that, because we start searching for new locations in advance of the current convention. So for those of you who've asked where next year's ASTI is going to be, and we've had that asked a couple of times, and I know that Sarah's been asked that a bunch. We're still trying to source a location at this point, so we don't have that finalized, and we won't announce it until we do have a contract in place. So patience, I guess, is the virtue here tonight. So we do want to talk about our Las Vegas event that's coming up at the end of this month. And as some of you may have heard, we have quite a few people registered already. So if you haven't done that, we always seem to have people who arrive in the location and then register, which I think is a bold move. If you're doing that, congratulations, you got more nerve than I ever possessed, because I like to have all of my I's are dotted before I get where I'm going. But good for you. We've got about 700 registered right now for this event. It does take place in Las Vegas at the Horseshoe Hotel and Casino. So for those of you who have never been, it is a very nice, very large casino and hotel with an ample space for us to do what it is that we do every year. And so with that said, I will tell you up front, on the 24th of this month, we will have people obviously arriving. The registration desk will not open until 6 p.m. that evening. So if you want to go and register, you want to go and pick up your welcome packet and this sort of thing, 6 p.m. it will open, and we'll have staff manning that until, Sarah, do you have a close time? 8 p.m. Okay. So we're going to be there from 6 to 8 on the 24th. And then in the next morning, it opens quite early. I want to say, Sarah, you refreshed my memory. I don't want to put you there. It is 6. Okay. I didn't want to put you there at 5 if it was 6. So you're muted, but
I'll be there, but we don't, I'll be there, but we don't open until 6. I'll be there at 5, but please don't come till 6.
Yeah, 6 the next morning as well. So for newcomers, when you arrive, please go and find the registration desk. This year it's going to be in their conference facility. So it is, it's hard to describe, but there'll be signs and directions to get you where you need to go. It is manned by not only Sarah, but we have Maggie as well. And there'll be 2 other staff. Sarah? Yes. Okay. So please go over and get your welcome packet. That'll give you lots of information to begin with. It's also going to describe some of the things that we're going to talk about later in this broadcast, so that you'll know what you're doing and where you go. This year we have the unique experience of being on 2 different floors, and everybody keeps telling me we were always on 2 different floors, but the difference this year is the 2 different floors are quite a bit apart. So one is called the Sky View floor, and I forget exactly which level it's on, but it is it's called Skyview for a reason. So it's pretty high up in the building. We'll give you details on that in your welcome packet. On
It's the 26th floor.
Is it 27? Okay.
26.
So everything else is going to be on the ground floor in the convention center, but then they also have convention rooms on that 27th floor of Skyview. So we we loved it when we saw it. I'm excited to see people's reaction. It's got a whole bank of windows along the wall that looks out over Las Vegas. So it's got to be an awesome view at night. When we were there, it was the daytime. It was still an awesome view. So just know that part of your classes will be up there, and the rest of them will be on the ground floor in the convention center. So we'll have some directions to get you where you need to be so you won't miss any of your classes and get there on time. So, including the information and the badge, please keep your badge on when you're attending and going to lunches and breakfast and this throughout the whole conference. That is the only way that we know that you're supposed to be there. As you might imagine, there are a lot of people in that hotel lobby, and we don't want people just kind of, straggling in trying to see what the buffet is today or whatever. We want our members and our participants and our attendees to be able to take advantage of the things that you came for and not have to serve people because we didn't know they weren't a part of this. So please wear your badge at all times so that we don't have to send you back to your room to go and get your badge. It's never comfortable for any of us to do that, but we want to make sure that everybody's getting served appropriately. So we appreciate that. So going over the schedule just a little bit for ASTI, on the Sunday, the 25th, that's going to be our kickoff. We will have breakfast that morning and the keynote speaker at 8 a.m. And our keynote speaker this year is Sean Moon. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. I'm going to let Fred kind of get involved in that a little as well. And the 27th, which is Tuesday, will be our trade show. And as everybody's familiar, if you've been before, our trade show is in the evening, and it will be in the Convention Center main on the ground floor. It will have, I believe we have in excess of, is it 100 vendors this year, Sarah? Or is it, where are we up to? It is over 100. So this year's going to be a pretty large trade show.
100.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just said yes.
So that's going to be a large trade show. I think we have some things. I've heard some rumblings from different vendors about things that they're going to do. So I know there's going to be some free beer and different things. Margaritas, I believe, are going to be showcased at different booths by different vendors. So it should be that hard to find your way over to the trade show floor. I have heard rumors, and I don't know if this is going to be true, that we may have some showgirls that are walking around. That won't be us. That was from one of the vendors who wanted to do that. So that's exciting. David, I'm going to bring you into this because we were doing some prepping for our own booth, our UASA booth this year. And why don't you, once you unmute, please tell us what we've done so far this year with the UASA booth.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this year's show, and if you're not, you should be. And for your first-time attendees, get excited. This is the biggest, the best appliance repair convention in the world, as far as I know. So get excited. Your money's going to a good place, and you're going to grow your businesses exponentially if that's what you're after. So get excited. Our trade show booth is going to be fun this year. I won't go into everything that we're going to do, but one of the new additions is we're going to have a green screen up, and you're going to be able to take pictures with a software that's going to be able to put the Vegas skyline, for example, in your background. You'll be able to share that right from the iPad to your social media accounts, have them texted to yourself. And we're hoping to even cast those up on a screen where it's just going to rotate through everybody's photos. In addition, throughout the show, there's going to be QR codes that you'll be able to scan and bring those pictures from around the show to one place where everyone can enjoy and share those pictures. So we're super excited about that. And yeah, that's the part of the trade show I wanted to highlight.
Great. And I know we're going to have a few giveaways at our booth as well. So that's something kind of new to us as well this year. So take a look and stop by our booth. We're going to have some of the board members there who will be able to answer some questions. And David, do you have anything to add on that?
I was just going to say we will have some membership booklets with benefits. So if you're really interested in how to get the most value out of your membership with UASA, we will have some membership booklets there that show all the different benefits that we have to offer, and what each offering kind of gives you out of the deal. So it's going to be a good time, especially new attendees. Stop by the booth, talk to some board members, figure out what UASA has to offer, and that's what we're here for. We're here for our members.
Absolutely. And if it's something where you decide while you're there that you're not a member and you'd like to be, we'll have somebody who can talk you through that as well, and give you that information so that you can join UASA and have more benefits from the things that our members enjoy every day. And in addition to that, that trade show is also going to open up the next morning. If you've been before, you're familiar with that pattern, so they'll also open the next morning and continue that trade show at 7 a.m. Will be a little different. The trade show in the evening does have normally some heavy hors d'oeuvres and this sort of thing. In the morning, it's more of a breakfast kind of thing. So going forward, we're going to talk about the banquet, which is on the 28th in the evening, starts at 6 p.m. And this year's banquet, we will have, in addition to the normal things that we would do, Lifetime Achievement Award and the MPS. We're going to have some giveaways during that banquet. And we're very pleased this year with the giveaways that have been brought to UASA by vendors and supporters. So we have some very good and very interesting things to raffle off this year. So be sure to get involved in that. We will be doing the 50-50, and also our scholarship program will announce winners this year. So giving back to the idea of MPS, I wanted to say, I know, David, you won MPS, has it been 2 years ago?
Yes, been 2 years.
Yeah, so talk about your experience with MPS and how that might have influenced your business, and where did you go? I noticed you added for those of you who were there when he won, he dressed as an appliance king, because that's the name of his company. And so I think recently you had some of that put on one of your vans, didn't you, or one of your trucks?
Yeah, absolutely. We dressed up as the king, and really went out there and, you could say, campaigned. But MPS and for those that it's their first time, MPS is Most Professional Servicer. It is a contest that we do every year, and your peers get to vote on who the most professional servicer is in the industry for your category. So they have different categories: a 1-man to 2-man category, a category with, I think it's 3 to 7, and then a larger category beyond that. So everybody has a chance to win that. Doesn't matter if you're 1 man or a large operation. And all you got to do is put your hat in the ring. To do that, you would have signed up, put your hat in the ring saying, hey, here's my information. This is something I want to go for. And then during the show, you get to campaign and get to tell your peers, why you're the best and why you should be chosen for the most professional servicer. We won the most professional servicer, like they said, a couple of years ago. And it made a large impact on our business. We were able to post that on all of our social media and websites, and we made posts on, Google My Business, and added, right to the top of our website, the most professional servicer. And that gives you, clout within your community to say, hey, we were voted most professional servicer in the country, not just in your community, not just in, your state, but in the country. Aside from the cash prizes and the giveaway, we got a Miele coffee maker, which is still, our employees' favorite coffee maker in our guest or in our break room. So they love it, and I think it even picked up morale within the team. Like, hey, we're the best. We have a standard to live up to. Sorry if you hear the kids in the background, but yeah, we have a standard that we live up to, and it's something that we live and breathe. And I think when you win an award like that, it really kind of puts that on display for the country to see. Not only that, but you get a part of the page on UASA on our website. You are memorialized, so to speak, forever on our website as a winner of the most professional servicer, which again kind of goes back to promoting your business on a national level instead of just a local level. But if your focus is on your small territory, it's an amazing achievement to bring home to your family, to your technicians if you have them, to your operation, and to your community. So yeah, that's the most.
So David, you came with the crown and a robe and a staff, and I think you'd agree that when we apply for this, before we even get there, we work hard in our businesses. But to prepare for this, there's categories, there's aspects of the business that we have to present to the advisory board to be chosen. And so it helps us raise that goal in our own house to get our things in order, the business cards, the website. And so that preparation to apply has a lasting effect in our businesses after as well. So and you went a lot farther than I did. You brought the whole costume. Didn't think of that, but we want to make sure our house looked good. Photos, website, things like that. That's the stuff you have to prep for to apply.
I think the costume was thrown together last minute.
It was. It was.
Yes.
But if you're new to UASA, I mean, the most professional servicer award goes towards everything that we strive to do, which is to make our industry more professional. So
there was not a bedspread missing from the hotel room on that trip, was there? Anything like that?
I can't promise anything.
Wait, it was that last minute?
It was that last minute.
You brought the
it is. It's important to say that the entries have been closed for this year. We're just too close to the time frame. So if you're interested, if this sounds like a good kind of contest for you to involve your company in, and we completely agree, look up for next year, because all the voting isn't closed, but the entries are closed for this year already. So, but yeah, it was a fun time, I have to say. So, and going forward, I want to talk about briefly the banquet, which is, as I said, we were talking about NPS as a part of the banquet. We also will do scholarship award, and those will come out. I believe we're going to do 2 different scholarship awards this year. We will do the Paul McDonald Scholarship Award and also the United Appliance Servicers Scholarship Award, which has been something that we have looked forward to for a long time. We always love to bring people to the event that maybe have not had the opportunity, don't know who we are, don't know what it's about, because it does kind of supercharge you when you come and you see all of this camaraderie and this commonality between the companies there who are experiencing some of the same things that you yourself might be experiencing. And then you can kind of have those conversations and work those things out, or get some advice, or at the very least, you're not doing it alone, and other people are having the same sort of experiences that you are. And so with that, we also want to say that the banquet is going to be, we're going to try and keep with a time frame this year. Last year was we ran a little long, so we want to make sure that everybody who was there last year, please come back and see us again this year at the banquet. Don't skip the banquet, because we have awards. We love to recognize people in our field. This is quite possibly one of the few times that we get the opportunity to recognize when somebody in our field has done something outstanding, or is just representing the industry in a way that we want to say, great job. And this is our opportunity to do that. So please show out, be there for your fellow man who may or may not be getting that award tonight, but they want to be present to be recognized. And we also recognize our vendors at that opportunity as well. So make sure you do not miss the awards banquet. This year's entertainment is going to be a guitarist, and so he will be there to play throughout the banquet. So we look forward to everything that we have planned for that. And then on the 29th, I've seen this question a couple of times on Facebook. Classes will end around noon on the 29th. And we do have classes that day. I've seen a couple of people on Facebook asking, are there classes that day? Or they're not classes that day? I've also seen people ask, are there classes on Sunday? And yes, there are classes on Sunday as well. Sunday will be the only day that we are not on that upper floor, the 27th floor. Everything will be on the ground floor for Sunday. And then after that, we'll shift to some of the classes upstairs. Going to try to do mainly the business classes are upstairs, but we will have some mix just because of availability of room and head count. So make sure you stick to your schedule, which I have also seen a lot of people asking about times and dates on the schedule. And so we want to address that just briefly. We try really, really hard to get you an accurate schedule, but things do change. We're dealing with a lot of moving parts and a lot of people who are doing this of their own volunteer time. And so those schedules are subject to be shifted and moved around. So bear with us if we get you a schedule that as it says on the schedule currently, is subject to change. So I do know that is going out tomorrow, the times. So for those of you who've been asking, when are the times coming? When are the times coming? They're coming tomorrow. So take a look on Facebook. This information that I just went over about the dates and the days of each event, the bigger events, as well as classes, that went out on Facebook probably a month ago, I think. And so just make sure you keep up with those things. It's on our UASA Facebook account. And I know that those class schedules will go out tomorrow and it'll answer some of the questions for you. So going back to our keynote speaker, Sean Moon, he's part of the Franklin Covey speech organization, and they also have spoken with us in terms of trying to find the right one. So they went through a lot of meetings personally with us and thought that Sean would be the best one to speak to our group. He has some experience in this field. And Fred, I'll let you talk a little bit about him if you'd like to.
Well, we're excited to have him. He is CEO of a company called Zero Res, which is an in-home service company. So I think he speaks with or comes from an in-home experience. He's written several books. His keynote address is going to center around leading customer loyalty. Is how do you get customers to be loyal? How do you get them to come back? And he's also going to lead a breakout session on one of the keynote books and programs from Franklin Covey, which is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So in addition to the keynote, he's going to do that, and we're excited to have him. So that will be, the keynote will be at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. So
yes. And some of the others, if you're interested in knowing what else he's written, maybe you've read something or maybe you want to pick it up and read it. He also has written a book called Talent Unleashed. And he's written The Ultimate Competitive Advantage. So he's got 3 that I found very easily on the internet. So if you're interested or have any curiosity about what is involved in his book and Sean Moon's philosophy, his writing, how he speaks, that's a good resource to go to before we have him as keynote. So we're very excited to have him, and he's excited to be here because, like I said, he's got some insight into our industry, which we try to seek someone out as a keynote that does have an understanding for what it is that we do. And that way we, as individuals, I feel like we get more out of it if they can relate. So again, excited to have Sean speak to everybody. So wanted to dip down here for a second and look at some of the details that we'll be doing. In addition to classes, I wanted to look at some of the class schedules in a little bit, but I wanted to also talk about peer groups for a moment. Now we did, I believe it was a laundry room a few weeks ago on peer groups and talked about that, but this is the time. So if you're a newcomer or you just have never done a peer group and you really are curious about it, this is the time that we start new peer groups. So at ASTI is the time for you to sign up, get information. I believe there's going to be a couple of classes on this. Fred has for several years now, along with Corinne Caruso, done peer groups. They mentor the peer groups, get them started, and then they, for lack of a better way to say it, they cut them loose and let them kind of do their own thing. And Fred's been a part of a peer group for many years now. Fred, talk to us a little bit about peer groups and the starting of the newest one at this year's ASTI.
Just a little bit of personal experience. It is the best thing I did for my business. What I try to say is ASTI in a 90-minute or 60-minute class, you sort of get the Cliff Notes version of it. For those of you old enough to remember Cliff Notes, peer group, you get to actually see boots on the ground. You are comparing yourself against your other peer group members. It's I think one of the biggest things is anytime I ran into anything that I didn't know how to handle, somebody in my peer group had been through something very similar. So it sort of acted like a quasi board of directors or whatever. I mean, and that we share nothing to get on the phone and just to get on 6, 7 of us and talk through an issue, and somebody had run into that before. But we sort of hatch them. You sign up for it at ASTI. We'll probably meet 3 months. It'll probably be the end of May. We'll have our first group meetings, and last couple of years we've done 2. Corinna's done 1 and I've done 1, and we meet quarterly. And we met in Dallas. That seemed to be a geographic center for everybody the first time. Then my group went to Cleveland, I think. And then the next meeting we met in Louisville, Kentucky, and did a plant tour of the dishwasher and the refrigeration plants at GE at their factories there. Corinne's group went to Chicago, I think, and went to a Whirlpool customer service center. So it gives us opportunities to do that. And we'll be meeting with these groups the last time this ASTI. And like Renee said, we're going to cut them loose. It's sort of like we're going to kick them out of the nest. They got to fly on their own now. But like I say, it is the best thing I've ever done. And I just invite you to come get some more information about it at the meetings at ASTI.
Yes, absolutely. And I see some of the questions coming through, and we're gonna circle back around to those if you'll bear with us for a little bit longer. One of the forerunners to the peer groups was something we started a year or so ago called networking teams, which Doug is involved in. He and Debbie Clintworth have been trying to foster those individuals who wanted to join that. And what this is a forerunner to the peer groups. So for people who aren't ready to commit to a peer group, maybe it's time, maybe it's, availability, maybe it's, financial. The networking teams give you an opportunity to be in that environment without the traditional qualifications and requirements of a peer group. But what it is a stepping stone. So for as much as Fred has said that these, are very, very good for you, not only for your company, but for you as a person, because we carry a lot of weight as company owners or company managers or, technicians. You carry a lot of weight. And so having the opportunity to be a part of a peer group with other individuals who are doing the same thing gives you the insight that you're not, again, as I said before, you're not by yourself. And maybe they have run into this before. So this was something we started to kind of give people an opportunity to get their feet wet before they join an official peer group. So Doug, talk to us about the networking teams. I know that you guys did your first group this past year. So talk to us about that and the starting of a new one.
Sure. I think first of all, you get inspired to do something like this, because if you've never been to an ASTI, you look at the preview and you recognize there's going to be some classes and you're going to learn things. But what's the secret surprise is the relationships and the networking that happens when you meet other owners, and that's something that sometimes people don't expect. And so the idea is, how can we continue this kind of networking and relationships after an ASTI? And so, yeah, this year, Debbie and I think Debbie met with some people at last ASTI who were interested. And it's been a very patient group of men and women that we've been meeting every week on Zoom for I think about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And as an example, this year, there are people from the West Coast and the East Coast. So we try to find a time that works. And I believe we've had some really great success, deepened relationships, topics discussed, accountability beginning to happen because they're talking about something they're working on, and now someone's checking in to see how they're doing. And so we're going to continue to keep working on the best type of format that could make this group become a stronger together. Let me think here. So some of the things that stand out to us for sure is maybe goal setting moving forward, where there's some, with that accountability, there's an opportunity for those guys as peers to push forward. Things that we've thought about is, what if a service or networking group has somebody that's in their neck of the woods? Well, we're going to have to, as a UASA team, make sure that it's a safe place to network, that you're not maybe networking with a competitor in your area. One of the cool things about just, hey, well, let me just network. Anyone can do this. It happens. I see it on Facebook. But with UASA's connections to vendors, manufacturers, and the resources that we have, one of the things we've done just once or twice, but we can do much better, is bring resources in. Fred, I think you came in one time and spoke to the service or networking group about bookkeeping, right? Those topics, if we find like topics happening in the group that, like, we would like if you guys could find us an expert to come in and talk about this field or this area, those things happen as well. So we certainly will have, we're going to have a class, right, Sarah, there where people can come and take interest, sign up. We'll have signups all around on our website as well. Facebook page, we'll make sure everyone has an opportunity. After ASTI's finished, we'll figure out how many groups we might have to have, and then we'll formulate that. And then we'll reach out to you guys and contact you and get you signed up.
Right. And to your point too, Doug, about being in a group with a competitor, I spoke a little bit, mentioned that there were requirements of peer groups and sort of kind of guidelines. Fred, go ahead and speak to that, because I know it's part of the peer group format to not be in a peer group. One of the things
we sort of use some criteria to parse the groups between Corinne and me. That's probably the biggest one. We will not have competitors in the same group, because it's I guess we can say it now, what happens in a peer group stays in a peer group. It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So it's totally confidential, and we don't want anything you share potentially damaging your business. We will not put two competitors together. So in fact, we have to sign confidentiality agreements. That's before the first meeting. So
and that also reminds me with the service or networking as well. Attendance, regular attendance, we think is pretty critical. We don't think a group could thrive if someone shows up once in a while or checks in or checks out. And these people have also agreed, and you need to agree, that this stuff is confidential and that you can't, share what's going on in that group outside of it. Otherwise, that trust won't be there for honest, good networking. So attendance and same sort of peer group mentality where, this is a private group.
Well, both networking teams and peer groups, this is the environment where a business owner or somebody who's in the management of the business or whatever capacity you are and you join this is where you can ask the real questions, because sometimes when you're sitting in a class environment, and I've seen this over and over again, people don't feel comfortable, speaking in the class environment. So when I teach classes, sometimes people come up to me afterwards and one-on-one, they'll tell me stuff that they didn't want to say in front of everybody, or they'll ask me a question that they didn't want to ask in front of everybody. And, I totally get that. So this is the environment where you can ask those tough questions and get real answers from people who, like Fred said, they probably had it happen to them before. And this is the environment where you can do that and grow. And you don't have to feel like you're the odd man out in this environment, because there's a commonality there again that I want to just mention, and that's how you learn and grow. So these are both very good ways to become involved. So please look on your schedule of classes and make sure, if you're interested, to go to, you can go to both. If you don't know where you fit in, or you don't know which one you're more inclined, go to both and decide later on, and then we can always get you signed up for it and get you involved. And it's a very good way to kind of double down on your investment of ASTI, of going to ASTI, is to become a part of this. So thank you both guys for talking about that. So I know it was brought up about signing the confidentiality disclosure for peer groups. So we're going to segue right into our non-solicitation. For those of you who've never been to ASTI, and those of you who are returning, a few years ago, we adopted a non-solicitation form that we wanted to roll out, and we're going to roll it out again this year. What it basically is for individuals who might think this is a great opportunity to not only network, but recruit. ASTI is not a recruiting event, and we want every person who comes to learn and network and enjoy the company of other people who do what we all do, to feel comfortable being able to bring their customer service people, their technicians, whomever. Maybe your parts guys coming. We're bringing a couple of people from our office as well. No one wants to feel like they are, bringing the newest candidate in front of a bunch of hiring managers. So that's what this is all about. And we ask, for it to be a gentleman's agreement, but also we want you to sign and say that you recognize that this is an important event for this industry, and that it won't be something that you use to recruit. Just go and enjoy and do what is intended, and don't rock the boat in terms of people not wanting to bring their staff, because that's what it's all about. We want people to come and learn and sit down in these classes. I myself did a CSR class a couple of years ago, and so that's, it's important that we have those people in those classes. So we want you to feel comfortable to bring your staff and bring your people, and let them talk to other people without having that stigma hanging over. So you will find that on registration day. They will, all of our admin will have that for you. So please just, go ahead and sign up and understand that this is a very cordial event. So I did see, Sarah, maybe there was a question a little bit back, or just a comment about brainstorming sessions. And I didn't get to read all of it. It was a ... and I read most of it. In place of having small groups talking about what the favorite repair is for themselves for exam. I can't read all of it.
I think
That's
Go ahead.
giving feedback on other ideas.
I see. I did see something about. Go ahead.
I was going to say his request was possibly doing a brainstorming session where we don't have a specific topic, so it can kind of organically create itself. And I just responded that we've tried that in the past, and we would definitely be willing to do it in the future, because it would make the facilitator's job a lot easier. But we do have a lot of awkward silences. So if there are any topics that could be very broad that possibly would still get people to engage, we definitely welcome those. And then David also said, you can always change course. just because the topic is X, you can always veer and change it if that's the way that the group wants it to go, because these
Right.
are open conversations. In brainstorming, our facilitators just come prepared, so we try to avoid these awkward silences like that occur when we do not have something planned.
Yeah, it's an environment, I think, too, like I said before, sometimes people are uncomfortable speaking up, and then other times you have like the same 4 people speak up all the time, which is fine. You know what, it's still conversation, it's still food for thought for the person who's sitting over in the corner and doesn't want to be noticed. They still are sitting there listening to these conversations, and that's where the value is involved. So yes, we would love to be able, as a facilitator of brainstorming, and some of us on the board, all of us are asked to step up and facilitate those. I'd love to show up with no plan, but sometimes it takes a little spark to get conversation going, but it can go wherever we want it to go. So yes, we would love to have those free form just thought processes. We did add to our brainstorming session because we had some requests. A couple of years ago, we had some requests not to have them so early in the morning. And for some people, particularly the ones who were coming from the West Coast over to Florida when we were down in Florida, that was an early morning for them, really, really early with the time change. And it made it impossible for some to make it to the early morning brainstorming sessions. And yes, they are called early morning brainstorming sessions. So we got some requests to add some in the evening. And so we did add some to our schedule for the afternoon after classes. So there'll be some brainstorming sessions taking place then for those people who are just they're not early risers. So we wanted to try and accommodate. So we do listen to the suggestions, we do listen to the feedback, and we try to accommodate wherever possible. So that's
I
kind
don't
of,
think I've ever seen David Costanza in an early morning brainstorm session. So maybe we'll see him in an afternoon one.
Maybe an afternoon session.
No need to call
Yeah,
anyone
see?
out.
I'm just
I
saying.
may be sleeping
There's
during the early
many
morning.
people we've never seen. Many people we've never seen at an early morning.
No, I do appreciate you guys adding the afternoon. That's great, because brainstorming is
Yes.
collaboration from all around the country with a lot of experience and a little. And this open-ended discussion is going to be great in the morning or the afternoons. So
Yep, it's absolutely a good time. I did a couple of the evening brainstorming sessions myself, and we have good conversations. And we also have we've had attendees who kind of either they're there by themselves or they're there with one other person, and it's a new city, it's a new group, it's a new environment. They don't know what to do with themselves, when the classes are over. So, the brainstorming session is there's quite a bit of a social aspect to it as well. And so it's a good place to express those ideas. And we've had some really good conversations in those that continued out into a restaurant or, a little sitting area inside the lobby of the hotel. And some of the best conversations I've had at ASTI took place in the hotel lounge or wherever, just to be able to sit down and have a drink with somebody and discuss what's been going on in their business, what's been going on in their world. Gives you so much insight into what you're doing and why they may be doing it differently than you are, but they're still as successful, So there's no one easy answer to doing things that we do. So
it's ideas that are born from someone else sharing an idea that doesn't exactly work for you, but
Exactly.
from that idea, you take something home. Every year, something from brainstorm session helps build work with Action Appliance where I'm at. So it's an important session. Yep.
Absolutely. And if you take home one idea, because I hear people say who have been many, many times, and these veterans to ASTI, and thank you for coming over and over and over again, because at a point, we know you're not coming specifically for the agenda. You're coming because it is the camaraderie, the environment. You see old friends, you have these conversations, you're able to touch, very active points with other people that and you've known for years. And we know that's why you still come, but thank you for still doing it year after year after year, and you bring new people with you when you come, you bring new employees, and everybody gets something out of it. So, you know, we're very grateful for this following of these veterans who've been doing this for way longer than we've been doing it, to be honest. And it's so good to walk into that environment and see familiar faces and know that if you have a question, you know, my husband and I have been in the industry together for 20 years. He's been in it longer than I have. And we still have questions. You know, you don't get to a point where you're like, I got it. I know what I'm doing. You get to a point where you're comfortable with what you're doing, but things change so often that you always have questions. You always do. And thankfully so, because it doesn't make the work as boring and tedious as it could be if you had figured it all out a long time ago. So we welcome the challenge of answering questions. I will be doing 2 classes myself. This year, I will be doing one that's a panel discussion with a presentation referencing recognizing and managing stress in your workplace. So we're going to talk about that in that class. I will have a few panelists who will discuss their experiences, and we'll talk about what they did and what caused, you know, their stress. And the other class I will do is about communication. So, and I know there are other, like I said, it's coming out tomorrow. So you guys take a look at it and see what you would be interested in, what you can attend. And I will be doing a couple, I know at least one brainstorming session. So please, please, please pay attention to your schedules. And along with the app that David was talking about earlier, the photo booth style app, that will come with a QR code. If you see the QR code in your welcome packet or on something else, just know that that's what it's for. I did see the question today about using Attendify for the app for the scheduling and that sort of thing. We will be using that again. It is not live just yet. If you go in there today, you'll probably see last year's information, or at least in part. So that information is being uploaded. And Sarah, do we know when that will go live? A couple of weeks?
Well, ASTI's 2 weeks from this weekend. So we're hoping 10 days prior, which will be the 15th.
Okay. So there's an approximate. So yes, we are using Attendify. Thank you for the feedback on that. It's
called Eventi. It's not
I'm
Attendify.
sorry.
It's called Eventi.
Attendify, I think, was what we used the first year, wasn't it?
2022.
When we first went, yeah. So my apologies for that. So that is going to be, and we'll do a little announcement when that goes up as well. So can you put a link for the app? Are we specifically talking about the
Not
event?
yet for either.
Yeah, okay.
We won't put it on here, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yep, it's in the App Store, but we will put it out once it's loaded, so that everybody can download it before they come. We'll also have a QR code and all of that. So just a little patience for a couple more days, please.
Regarding the app, do you have to register to attend a meeting? No, not on the apps. If you're speaking of classes, now I'm thinking that's what you're speaking of. If you're speaking of something different, I'm misunderstanding, then feel free to clarify. What was that last one, Sarah?
Well, I was just going to say, regarding the app, you have to register in the app because that is where the updated classes are. So all attendees, we highly encourage you to download the app, because while we will have a printed schedule, that is getting printed this week. So it's the same one that'll go out tomorrow. So any changes will be in the app, just due to print versus real time. So we do highly recommend it. You don't have to register in the app to attend the meeting, but like I said, it is highly encouraged to do so. So you can see
the printed one is
things will change. Classrooms, yes, classrooms will change. Times might change. Something might happen, and a class might have to get moved or canceled, or a new one added. And it unfortunately happens more than we'd like, but that's where you'll get all your updated information. So we highly encourage you to do that.
Right.
And Bobby, it'll be the same one, but you'll have to select 2024 instead of 2023.
Mm-hmm. And Anna, to further on your question, I know you said, yes, you were asking about classes. You don't have to register or confirm a class. It really is very, I always, when I bring employees, I will tell them, if you go into a class and it's not what you thought it was, maybe you had the idea that it was one thing and you get in there and it's something different. You can go and choose a different class. You know, you don't have to, we want you to get the most out of it. So if you're in a class and it's not what you thought it was, or maybe it doesn't deal with anything that affects your specific job, you can go and try to get into another class. I have people come and go in classes. I've done it myself for whatever reason. So feel free to be able to choose your curriculum that meets your needs and go with that. So no, you're not obligated to do anything like that. So any other questions?
The app is also a place where you'll be able to rate your facilitators in the classes, both topic and who's presenting. So that is a good tool as well. And to vote for MPS.
That too. Yep. So you'll see all of that in the app. And as soon as that goes live, please know that there will be a Wi-Fi login that will be provided in your welcome packet for the convention center itself. So if you're in there and you have to conduct business, as we all do, you can feel free to log in that way and do whatever you need to do. In addition, it is Las Vegas. And when we scheduled this, we knew a couple of things, and then we came to realize other things as the year went on. So there's quite a bit going on there around the time that we will be attending this event, our own event. So please know that it's going to be a busy place, and we encourage you to please come to classes. I said it before, there's a lot of distractions, but you know, you're there for a reason, and there's a lot of time at the end of the day to get out. The city never sleeps. So you can go and find whatever you want in this city. I've been there many times, and it's an exciting place. It is. And sometimes it's not what people expect. And sometimes I guess it might be spot on for some folks, but it is an exciting location. This hotel too, I wanted to mention, was doing a remodel. So this hotel is fairly newly remodeled. So if you've been to the Horseshoe before, it used to be,
Bally's, yeah.
So if you've been to the Horseshoe when it was Bally's, and that's the picture you have in your head, let me just go ahead and rescue you from that right now. It's been remodeled, and it is a new environment inside. So don't let that hold you back or make you think different. So any other questions I would love to answer, any other comments?
Renee, I'd like to say that ASTI it's a big event, and there's so much going on. It can get overwhelming. And you almost have to develop a technique to figure out what classes you want to attend to, and figure out the timing of things and when to rest and all that stuff. So it can, if it's your first time or your second time, just rest assured it gets easier, and you start to figure out what works. And next laundry room, which is next Wednesday, it's not this Wednesday, it's next Wednesday. We're gonna I want to invite anyone to come on and just share your tips and tricks of how to get the most out of an ASTI. What do you do with all your ideas, your brainstorming, you know, the things you've learned? What do you do? How do you take it back home? How do you apply it to your business? And so back to the word technique. We have to develop techniques in an event that's so big and has so much going on to it. So I encourage you all to join the next laundry room and share your experience, especially you old timers that have been here a long time. Right, Renee?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wanted to touch on a
Thank you,
couple of
Doug.
things. There were.
Yeah. Just joking.
I just let it go, man. I just don't
Yeah.
I don't even address it.
Yeah.
With regard to the question about the floor and the elevators, yes, there will be access of course, from the elevators, and you won't need a key card to get onto that floor, is my understanding. Is that so, Sarah? Okay, making sure, wanted to grab that question. What
That
time
is
is laundry
correct.
room? That'll be published too, if it hasn't already gone out. If you're curious, I'm
It's a-
sure Sarah's
it's a
probably
4
got it
p.m.
handy.
It's a 4 p.m. one,
Yep,
right?
that laundry room, yep, it's at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central.
Okay, and how do
Kendra,
I?
you join, yep, you can go to our calendar at unitedservicers.com and it's posted on there. You'll also see it on social media as well as email invites.
Okay. Any other questions? I want to roll one more thing out for newcomers and those who are returning. This is your board member. You see this shirt? You're looking at a board member. So if you have questions or concerns, or you just need to be pointed in the right direction, this is the shirt you need to look for, okay? And they'll be around. There's plenty of us. And please, please, please don't hesitate to stop one of us and introduce yourself. If you're a newcomer, if this is your first ASTI, we'd love to have a moment and just say welcome, welcome. In addition to that, if we could tell you, how to get wherever you're trying to go or what class is where, we'll do our best to help you out. Okay. I don't see any more questions popping up. So unless anybody else has anything to say or any concerns, we're going to go ahead and close this out for this evening. Thank you for attending the ASTI 101 this year. I thank everybody for assisting with it. Thanks, Doug, Fred, David, and as always, thank you, Sarah, for keeping me straight. And we will see you in ASTI in
Yep.
Las Vegas. So
Right.
safe
You're right.
travels.
Thank
Right.
you,
Good
everybody.
night, folks.
Have a great night.